Hi, I'm Laura. I do the bookkeeping at Baba's, and I just wanted to take this opportunity to teach you how to properly write a check so that you give me all the information I need to match things up on the other end. So you will get a delivery. Oftentimes it's for alcohol, Grassroots, Advantage, bottles, all of the vendors that we use that provide wine, beer, or liquor, and they are to be paid COD. So that is called cash on delivery, meaning they need to go out, they need to deliver their goods and walk out with a check. So if you are a check writer and this is one of your responsibilities, I would really appreciate it if you can do it the way I'm going to teach you to do it. So the Grassroots person, let's say, for example, is standing there waiting for a check. So I've written this ahead of time, but you will get the invoice and then you will write this information on there for them. So you will start with the date, of course, and then you will write who it's to, Grassroots Wine in this case, and then you will put the amount in the little box in numbers, and I just made up $100.10. And then on the next line is where you write it out. So this is for the bank, basically, for them to see the numbers, and then they want to see the words so that they can confirm that they're paying the check with the right amount. So then you write it out in words, 100, and then you put the amount, the cents, 10 cents in this case, and a slash and a 100. I have always put an apostrophe and an S, 10 100s, because it is a plural. I'm not sure people really do that anymore, but and then you write a line so that nobody can change it or fill, something different in. So you write a line all the way to the end. And then very important, on the memo line, it would be nice if you put, not just nice, but important to put the invoice number. Here I just made up a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you sign it. Okay, so that's all you do for the check. Then you go to the stub, and the stub is what I get. So that's important for me to be able to match things up. And the stub in this case, I messed up the date, which I wanted to show you specifically, is not a big deal. You just mark it out and put the right date. If you do something on a check and you do something incorrect, you can mark that out and put the correct thing in, but then you'll have to initial it to say that you are the one who made that change. But anyway, okay, so back to the stub. So you do the date, the vendor, and then the invoice number and the amount. All of that is really important information for me to be able to match it up with the invoice. So that's how you write a check. Then you tear it off. And so for instance, I'm just gonna tear this one off, all the way off. If you don't have time for some reason to attach the check stub to the invoice, then you can leave it in the book. But I would prefer if you attach it to the invoice, and then we don't have any issues that way. So here's an example of an attached stub to an invoice that is done well. So I need the date, the vendor, the invoice number, and the amount. And then on the invoice that we're keeping, you're going to staple it to the top corner, because I put this in a file, and this is the easiest way, if this is up in this corner, for me to find things. So then very important is for you to sign your name. Legibly would be good. I happen to know this is Norma, so I know her. She does a lot of the checks, so I'm at meetings, so I know her signature, so that's not a problem for me. But a lot of the signatures I cannot read, and that is a problem. Also, if you could put the check number onto the invoice, that would be helpful as well. In case these get separated, then I can easily find the stub, put it with the invoice, and be done with it. So here are some of the issues. I have a whole folder. I mean, I don't have much in it right now, which is good, but I have a whole folder of check stubs and invoices that are unattached. So I filled this out myself because I got this completely blank, and I went to the bank feed and found out that this check number was written to Grassroots, and this was the invoice number, which was on the check, and this was the amount. So I had to do all this legwork when the check writer should have filled it out for me. Okay, another one, bottles. I did get this stub, and it did have a name and an amount and a date, but it didn't have an invoice number, and it didn't have an invoice. So there was no invoice for bottles in the box that matched this. So I have to hold on to this and see if I can find that invoice, or I will have to call Bottles or text them, or email them and get an extra copy of the invoice, which is a pain, time consuming for me, time consuming and annoying for them. So if you could please, just make sure the invoice and the check stub are in the box. Okay, sometimes you may write a check and it might be for the wrong amount, which is understandable, that happens. And sometimes you'll add a couple together. Anyway, so if you wrote a check and you're not going to be able to use it because it's incorrect, if you'll just write void across the check and leave it in the book, so I'll know that there is a check that I should not be looking for this to go through the bank feed because it's been voided. Also, very important for you to put void on the check stub. So if this gets lost or whatever, then I might be looking for it and it's voided, so I won't be able to find it. So there's that. And then one other situation I wanted to bring to your attention is when you get more than one, you're paying more than one invoice at one time. So this, Norma does a great job. So this is again Norma's. And this is for Grassroots, but it's for 3 invoices at one time. So 1, 2, 3. So you'll have a large amount over here because you're paying for 3 invoices. And the bank will not know how to match this up. A big amount will come through. They will know, the bank will know that there are 3 unattached invoices, but, unless there was somebody sitting there adding them together and seeing that these 3 equals this amount, it's not going to match up. So it's very important for you to put all 3 invoices or 2 or whatever onto the check stub and staple them all together. That will make my life so much easier. And then I won't have to look at the bank feed. I won't have to get in touch with Grassroots. And that's all there is to it. So if you need to watch this again to get it just right, I would appreciate that. I know that writing a check is sort of a lost art. I haven't even written a check in a couple of years other than for Baba's. But this is an important skill, and it's important for you to do it correctly. I also would like to add that those of you who don't have great handwriting, that it's important for you to make these look as clear as you can, because the bank machine is reading it and they cannot read things that are scribbled. So it's important for you to write that correctly, important for you to do this correctly, important for you to sign it legibly, and I think we'll be in good shape. Okay, it'll make it easier for me, and I look forward to seeing things done really well from now on. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.